Hi and welcome along to AGB Xtra, brought to you today by Manscaped, along with my man DT in the building. Manscaped, don't forget you can get 20% off by using the code AGB. Don't forget, I've still got one of these for you, man. The aftershave.
What about the old ball shaver?
I've got one of those for you as well.
Yeah.
Fresh and ready.
It's like you're in a commercial.
That one with Vinnie Jones, isn't it?
Mate, right? Dear Lord. It's better than the one with tying. My God.
The link's in the description, right? You can get yourself 20% off by using the code AGB. And don't forget, this is AGB Xtra. This is where we do like a little extra one. It's shorter than our normal podcast, but we just kind of maybe focus in on a little subject. We're in a little bit of a feel-good thing this week. You know, relax. Every Arsenal fan I've been speaking to has been kind of relaxed. They've been chilled and cool because last week, that was a huge week. That could have been, you know, the thin margins of football, DT. That could have been horrific.
Yeah, it
reminded me. I remember a lot of times under Arsene Wenger's sort of later on in his reign. Remember, we'd have that February where literally that was it. The season was done. We lost all chance of winning the league. We went out of this, that we normally go out of the Champions League, and basically that would be it. Season done. Maybe hopes of an FA Cup, which we ain't even got this year. So we negotiated that last week. We navigated that, should I say. First of all, beating Benfica with that comeback, which was like, wow, you know what I mean? That could have went the other way. We didn't get lucky. We gritted our teeth and got through that. Then at the weekend, Leicester, 3-1, comprehensive, impressive win. And then when I looked through, right, the month of February. That month, when you look at that month, right, at the start of the month, this is what it looks like, yeah? We had really tough games.
Yeah.
We had the Wolves game, which went wrong, which we played really good football in, but went wrong, turned on that horrible refereeing decision. We had the Villa game, which then poor performance, right? And we lost 1-0. But then we then said to ourselves, these next set of games, you looked at it after that and you're like, it's horrific. So it was Leeds, where a lot of people's like, Leeds, boy, they're doing well, man. We beat them 4-2, comprehensive win, really good. We then had Benfica. We got the draw with them away from home. We lost to Man City 1-0. But then overturning that, you know, last gasp beating of Benfica. So we're through to the next round of the Europa League. And then beating Leicester 3-1. And all of a sudden, the season's kind of open again. As regards to, you know, we ain't going to get top 4, I don't think. But we can push up the league, maybe top 6 place. And there's still Europa League open, and the win at the weekend gives you hope. So I want to find out from you, first of all, what you felt of us, how we've been playing recently, and then look ahead to the month of March, which is again another tough month. You don't get no easier.
I see a statistic this week that since the start of the year, I think we're about 4th place in the form guide of games played and everything. And look, first and foremost, this doesn't cover over what's been a poor season. What it, you know, is showing is that there has been a change. And, you know, since we've got this number 10 in and we've reverted to the system of the 4-2-3-1, there is a big difference in the way that we're playing. And we're, you know, creating more, scoring more. Still mistakes. Don't get me wrong. It's still a work in progress. But when you think 6 out of 7 of the teams that we've played are currently occupying the top 6, we've had tough games. It hasn't been, you know, 7-8 games of West Brom, Sheffield United, and all those teams where you look at and go, yeah, you should beat them. You should beat them. We've been playing everybody that, you know, you're looking at and going, nah, you're not going to beat them. You're not going to beat them. And then there's the odd game where you should. So I think that our return since the start of the year has been encouraging. Like I said, room for improvement still. But what's happened this last week should, I hope, put us in good stead, for the remainder of the season, because we were effectively 3 minutes away from our season finishing. That's the fine margin that we were between, that and, losing that game against Benfica. I say losing, drawing the game, but ultimately going out on away goals. Yeah. But, we sat and done the podcast before the Man City game, and we were looking at the 3 games ahead and saying, what would be acceptable? And we were like, draw against Man City, can draw against Benfica if it means going through, and then beat Leicester. I think on the balance of it, given Man City being what they are, and they're on a phenomenal run, 20 matches in a row that they've won, I suppose you can take the defeat. It hurts. I don't like losing. But on the balance of it, you can hold your hands up and say, better team by a million miles. They're where we want to be one day. Hold your hands up, better than us. But beat Benfica and beat Leicester, I think beforehand we would have took that.
Yeah.
we would have all sat there and said, you know what, lose to Man City, no shame, as long as you don't get battered 5 or 6-0, they're the better side, hold your hands up, you move on. But beat Benfica and Leicester, we would have all ripped your hand off at that all day long. And what I like about the Leicester performance was how ruthless we were. After going a goal down, that's one side of our game that we need to, rectify, the slow starts.
It's what's costing us.
It is costing us. And you're not going to be able to turn it around each and every time. And, what I liked about the Leicester game is the fact that we knew beforehand they had injuries. I spoke to you about it and I said that we need to take advantage. And the one thing that everyone kept saying was, when do we ever take advantage? How many times do we have an opportunity to do something and we fail? And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's a valid point, to be honest with you. But we need to take advantage. They're without Fofana, who's been one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League this season. They were without James Justin, who's been one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League. And they're without James Maddison, who has been one of the best creative midfielders in the Premier League this season. And was coincidentally hitting a real good bit of form before he went out injured. So I was like, we need to go for the jugular and we need to be ruthless in this. And we were.
But even with that, what makes the performance so good is that even though they were without those players, I mean, it weren't mugs that came in for those players. I mean, you still got Pereira who comes in. You've still got, Sionchu, who's one of the best centre-backs in the league last season, who came in. Yeah. And then remember, we made 6 changes. We left out our best players. We left out, Aubameyang, Saka. Those guys were missing. Odegaard, none of those guys started. So, Partey. I just felt that was very. What I've been very impressed with Arsenal has been all of a sudden now I see a style of play. Something that we didn't have before, but I'm now seeing a style of play at Arsenal. And that's what's really impressing me. And when we get it right, we're scoring goals. We scored 4 against Leeds. We scored 3 against Leicester. We looked very exciting in that first half against Wolves up until the referee got involved. You know what I mean? So I'm seeing like all of a sudden exciting football from Arsenal. At the start of the season, it weren't exciting. It was dead. Yeah. It was the 2 dense defensive midfielders, with a 3 at the back. There was no number 10. It is that number 10 that's made the difference, but there was no number 10. Ever since Smith Rowe, now Odegaard's come in, it's a different Arsenal now. All of a sudden, I'm looking at Arsenal and I'm saying, yeah, that's Arsenal. That's how we play. That's how we play. We're on the front foot. And that what impressed me even in that Leicester game is that right from the kickoff, we took the game to them.
Yeah, we did.
A team like Leicester, who the only teams that have won more Premier League football games than them over the past couple of seasons have been Liverpool and Manchester City. So that's a very brave strategy to take up against a team like that. When we played Leeds, we all know what they're known for, which is they're on the front foot. They'll have more possession than even, they don't care who they're playing. We have more possession than them. We took the game to them. Yeah. We were the ones pressing Leeds back. Yeah. We were on the front foot. Those things have really impressed me about our performances. However, the only thing is, like you said, is those silly mistakes. Imagine if we cut those out.
No, yeah.
That mistake we made against Man City, the mistake we made against Villa, those two in games that we lost 1-0, those two cost us.
You know what?
You've got to concentrate for 90 minutes, and then you never know what this team could do.
No, do you know what the most frustrating thing is, Robbie, is because I've looked at our fixtures that we've played already over the course of 2021. And it's not the Man City defeat that leaves something inside me that's, just like burning away. It's Wolves and Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Those two games, definitely the Wolves game, because we was in full control and the referee has completely changed the outcome of that game. And I don't even need to be speaking about that anymore. But the Villa game as well, if you take those two games in isolation, we win those two games, we're in a top 4 race. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? So I look at it and I just think, how big were those defeats at that part? Massive. And they were huge. And, you know, we've still got a lot of games left to have a decent finish to the season. But at the same time, yeah, you know, we know what we need to do in the summer. We know what mistakes we need to rectify. We know what positions that we need to go and deal with. And I think that, you know, the Leicester game only raised the point even more that right back is a key position that we need to rectify this summer. It's crucial. I think Cedric's a great player, but do I think he's first choice, long-term, week in, week out? Probably not. I think that we need someone else in there, and Cedric and them can battle over it. The problem, you know...
You're taking Bellerin out there, I notice. Like you sold him already.
No, listen, look, Robbie, at the end of the day, I've said this very clearly, and I want people to understand this very, very simple. That I don't hate Bellerin, and I don't have anything against him. I just don't think he's good enough for this football club. And I've seen plenty of evidence over recent months which back what I'm saying. And I even go to the Leicester game. If Bellerin's playing in that Leicester game, we don't score our third goal. In my opinion, we don't score that third goal. Because I remember you saying to me about Kelechi was talking about inverted and everything else. The job of the fullback is to be able to play inverted and play on the outside. You've got to be able to do both. It's not constantly inverted. Everyone's getting stuck on this inverted because they see what Man City do when, you know, right back to when Kyle Walker was a fullback and stuff. But he gets on the outside as well as inverted. You're getting too detached to, you know, that side of things. When we broke, I want people to go and watch this back if they haven't already and just understand this. When Pepe broke, Cedric was an inverted fullback. He bust the gut to go on the outside of Pepe, which then took, I think it was Pereira, away from the central position to where Cedric was going. It then opened up the space in front of Cedric. Sionchu then had to come towards Pepe. He then notices Odegaard's found a pocket of space to his left, slips it to him, slips it to Willian. Pepe continues his run and he's there for an easy tap in. That does not happen if there's not an overlap. Because Pepe's running into two defenders of Leicester and it's a blind alley. You know, and the easy option for Pepe, even when Cedric's made that run, would have been to try and slip, you know, Cedric in and look for a cutback. But the Odegaard is also crucial in that play in the way he picks that pocket. Because if you don't have a player with the brain to find the space, then Pepe doesn't have an option. He has to go that way. But when do you ever see Bellerin overlap in that instance when we break like that? You just don't see it. And as far as I'm concerned, like I said, that does not happen if Bellerin was playing. And I alluded to this in the fan cam after the game. We've been so fixated lately on Pepe playing on the left-hand side because his best performances over the last month have been on the left-hand side. Maybe it doesn't really matter what side he plays on. It's about who plays behind him, because that then opens the door for him to play to his strengths. On the left-hand side, he had Cedric behind him. When he goes to the right-hand side, he had Cedric behind him. When he's on the right, 9 times out of 10 over recent months, he's always had Bellerin behind him. So put a decent fullback behind him that can actually play, you know, a style that suits him, which is to let him run into space. Pepe doesn't want to receive the ball with his back to goal, where he has to stop, turn, and try and pick a momentum. He wants the ball played in front of him, where he's free to just run at people. And what Cedric allowed him to do, and you see it in the first half, the amount of times the ball just went straight into Pepe and he was running at their left back. He was getting chopped down left, right, and centre by that young lad. And, you know, if that young lad is going to make it in, you know, football, then that will actually be the making of him, that kind of game, because he will have learned a hell of a lot. And it was testament to Pepe's performance that Brendan Rodgers hooked that young boy off at half time, because he was on toast. But Pepe was allowed to do that because the ball and the service into him was what he wants.
So the question is, and I guess, you know, I'm going to put this out there in the comments on YouTube.
Run a poll.
Run a poll as well. We'll run a poll on the AFTV VIP app as well. We're going to run a poll on it as well. Cedric or Bellerin to start in these games? Because it will either be on that right-hand side, I guess it's going to be either Saka or Pepe. Who will get the best out of those two, right? Because Bellerin, you know what? He has had some, I don't think recently he's been great, but earlier on in the season, he had some decent games. You know what I mean? He was kind of playing well when a lot of other players weren't. You know what I mean? And I don't think he's been terrible, because remember, Cedric as well was a bit at fault for that first goal. Who's better defensively out of those two for you?
I think Cedric's better defensively. He understands when to go and when not to.
Do you think Cedric's better defensively?
And when you say first goal, the first goal against Leicester, that weren't Cedric's fault.
Oh, no, it's Xhaka, wasn't it? Xhaka.
Yeah, it was on the left-hand side. Cedric was playing right back then.
No, I'm thinking, what was the game where
Cedric was at fault for the goal against Villa.
Villa,
with a misplaced pass. But apart from that one mistake, when has Cedric been making mistakes? He's been putting in very, very solid 7 out of 10 plus performances week in, week out. They're not flashy. They're not, you know.
Yeah, let's do a little FIFA type vibe on it, right? So, FIFA pace, Bellerin.
Really? I'm not sure anymore. Bellerin ain't got his pace anymore, man.
Oh, you think Cedric's quicker than Bellerin?
I wouldn't put much part. I don't think there's much difference between them. Bellerin's lost his pace, man.
No, I think Bellerin's a little quicker.
No, I don't. There's been quite a few games where Cedric's burst to that byline, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? You remember the one where they thought the ball went out, and he cut it back for Aubameyang to tap in? I think it was against Newcastle. How rapid he was.
Okay. All right. Crosses. Crossing the ball.
Cedric. Listen, you can put a rating of Bellerin against you can put Bellerin against my 5-year-old at crossing, and my 5-year-old will win. I'm sorry, but Bellerin's poor at crossing.
Defensive duties.
I think that Cedric's got more about him defensively. I don't see us getting exposed horribly down the right-hand side when Cedric plays there. The amount of times when Bellerin plays at right back, we get exposed down our right channel. It's as though people know he's a weak point. But I don't see that. I see it a little bit when Cedric was playing on the left, but that's understandable. Teams would target that area because he's not a left back. So you go for the weak point. But even then, I still felt he'd done a capable job for a month at left back, bar that Villa game.
All right, finishing. Actually, Cedric should have scored on against Leicester.
Yeah, that was a bad touch in the box where he tried to roll it out of his feet. But
Bellerin has scored a few goals.
I think both have scored a couple of goals, haven't they? Cedric.
Yeah.
What game was it? Was it the Wolves game where Cedric had a shot that just outside the box that whizzed just wide, and I think he scored on his debut, didn't he? Probably about the same. I don't even know how many each of them have scored this season. I think Bellerin might be winning. I'm not sure.
Physicality.
Oh, Cedric. Bellerin gets knocked off the ball way too much.
No, you're not giving Bellerin anything.
No, I'm not. No, because he does. He gets knocked.
You didn't even give him pace.
No, because Bellerin.
I think he's quicker. I think he's quicker.
Listen, it'd be interesting to see what people say in the comments. I genuinely think that there's not much difference between Bellerin and Cedric in terms of pace. Bellerin's lost his pace. In terms of physicality, how many times have we seen Bellerin get shoulder barged off the ball? And what's the first comment everyone makes as soon as Bellerin loses a tackle?
They start having a go and being a vegan and all them sort of rude things like that, right? So, which has got nothing to do with it.
No, I know that. But straight away, that's what people put it down to. They instantly start going, go and eat some red meat and you'll be fine.
Listen, right?
I'm not.
That's got nothing to. I can say as a person who did a vegan diet for like 5 months last year, right? And now eat a mainly sort of plant-based diet, although I do eat meat still, it doesn't do anything to your strength. If anything, like it can actually make you stronger. There's lots of evidence around that. So all those people who always having a go at him.
Yeah, I'm not saying me or you or
I've heard you as well.
Nah, mate,
I've heard you.
Don't even try that one.
I've heard you, vegan, planting trees and all that. You know what I
mean? No. I've mentioned planting trees and things like that, yeah? That's got nothing to do with vegan. Listen, the last thing I need is the Green Army on my back. All right? It's not happening. If you want to be a vegan, you go and be a vegan, and I hope you enjoy it. I have nothing against your preference. I'm just talking about the general consensus that you normally see.
Right, we're gonna put it out there. We're gonna put it out there. Cedric or Bellerin or Cedric. Want? No, you know what? You said your bit, right? And I'm gonna stay neutral because I want people to. No, you know what it is. You know what it is, DT. Yeah. No. You know why I'm doing this. You know why I'm doing this.
No.
Yes. You know why I'm doing it, right? Because I don't want to.
You can't.
Because I don't want to influence people. I don't want to influence.
I'm just saying, you yourself personally, not on about like the statistics or who's better in what position or what. I'm saying that the game against Burnley, who would you want starting right back? You're going to do your 1 to 11.
I'm genuinely trying to give people. I want people to give their.
Right. When you do your 1 to 11 for Burnley at the weekend, who is your right back?
Chambers. That's why they call me Don Robbie, yeah? That's why they call me Don Robbie. I got the lyrics.
Hey, listen, man.
All right. Listen, right now, it's Cedric. For me, I would start Cedric because I just feel, I didn't want to influence what people are going to say. I want people to, and please, when you're giving your opinions, I want you to give your opinions honestly and back it up with the reasons why when you leave it in the comments. For me, I just feel he's a more natural right wing back. He plays that role better. I think he's a bit stronger in defense. And I think getting forward, it's like you said earlier with what you described. He can come inside, but he can get out wide and he puts a good cross in. And the other thing I've noticed about him as well is that there was a cross that he played, I think it was for Aubameyang for one of his goals, where he didn't just... A lot of times I find with Hector Bellerin, he just gets... when he does get out wide, he just puts the ball in the box and hopes that somebody will be on the end of it. Whereas I find that Cedric sometimes, he gets his head up and looks and tries to actually craft that cross to come in to get to somebody. So it doesn't always have to be in the air. He might play it on the floor. He might cut it back. He's looking to try and find somebody in a position. That's why the other day I was bigging up Willian for, the goal that Tierney scored, and there was a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, but anyone could have done that." I just thought to myself, "You showed that's a composed pass into the box," because lots of people just it's not just Hector Bellerin. I see lots and lots of wing backs and wingers and that, and they just get to the byline and they just whip a ball in, which sometimes that's great to do, but sometimes there's guys open, or you know what I mean, find somebody, and I feel that Cedric does that better, and that's why I'd go with him. But I'd love to hear from people and let us know. Look, I'm just going to quickly ask you this on the extra is these are the games coming up in March. Burnley this weekend, followed by Olympiacos, huge game. We all know we'll talk more about that in the podcast coming up before the weekend, and the Burnley game, of course. Then that's followed by Tottenham on the 14th of March. I bet the best thing about that game, in a way, is that they also have.
Have you seen what they've done
ahead of that?
Have you seen what they've done? They've changed the fixtures round, didn't they? Have you not seen that yet? Because we were both drawn at home for the first leg.
Yeah.
No, we're both drawn
away.
Drawn away. Yeah. So the second legs would be. So they're now at home first leg,
which is an advantage to them because we got to go all the way to Greece.
Yes, it is in that respect. But the reason, do you know how they made their decision? It was actually in favour of us because as the FA Cup winners, we took priority, and it was Spurs that had to change their fixture. So they play at home first, away second, because they can't have us playing on the same night 4 miles apart. And I don't understand that when there's going to be no fans.
There's going to be no fans there anyway, so what's the point in changing that? That's stupid.
Why are you changing it? So
they could easily make one game earlier and one game later. It's stupid.
It is,
and that works to their advantage for that home game because they're at home. We got to travel.
I look at it two ways. I look at it two ways, Robbie. It works as an advantage for them in a sense that they play at home and don't have to travel before they play us. But then they've also got to go away second and don't have that home advantage. And
I guess it evens itself out in a bit.
It swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah.
But look, listen. At the end of the day, we went all the way to Greece before we played Leicester.
Yep, true. So, and Leicester are a better side than Tottenham. So
maybe the whole weather does something.
Yeah, 14th of March, Tottenham. 18th of March. Back for the second leg against Olympiacos. And then we finish off the month because it's a shortened month because there's an international break there with a game on the 21st of March away at West Ham, which again, that's a tough game because West Ham have been flying. They've been excellent. Gave City a great game the other day as well. And, they're looking for top 4. So that's a very difficult March. Again, though, if Arsenal can roll up their sleeves and come through that month, they're then into the quarterfinals of the
Europa
League. And then they've got a chance of in the league now, maybe we, if results go, you can be talking about top 6.
Yeah.
You can maybe, if a load of results went our way, be talking about top 4 because I look at that, right? April, Liverpool at home, Sheffield United away, Fulham at home, Everton at home. Then we get into May, right? Newcastle away. I mean, if we're in any sort of decent position, this is how we end off the season. Newcastle away are struggling. West Brom at home, who are struggling. Chelsea away, of course, that'll be difficult. Palace away, winnable. Last game, Brighton at home, who are struggling.
We've got a decent running.
So we got to really roll our sleeves up and get through this tough month of March. But the rewards at the end of it could be good.
Yeah. It's going to be
another bit like February. It's another tough month.
Yeah, it is a tough month. I've also just heard news last few hours that Olympiacos have lost their main centre back as well. So that's really good news for us.
Yeah, but then Socrates will come in.
That's fine. He can score a couple of own goals. You know what I mean?
Socrates It's like that. It's like that's
listen.
like that's been made for us.
I'm gonna send Socrates a message, and I'm gonna be like, listen, you gave my son your shirt, yeah? Don't break his heart.
Yeah, he might say, yeah, I've got an Olympiacos shirt for you as well.
Yeah, listen, all right, listen. But it's look at the end of the day. Hey, and speaking of that as well, briefly, I want to say, do you remember on the other day I was saying to you that it should be nice for Willian to be able to go on social media and see nice messages. It'd be really nice. I put an Instagram story up, just saying like a picture of him from the game and saying superb today, and just sent the message. Never thought nothing of it. A couple of hours later, he messaged me back. I mean, saying thank you, my friend. I was nice. I was like, do you know what?
So that means.
Yeah, that means he's never getting criticism again now.
Yeah, you're going to be like, oh no, Willian's my guy.
Willian, that's my
all right.
guy, you know.
I've got my eyes on you now from now till the end.
Willian is my guy. But no, listen, in all seriousness, yeah, it's nice for him to see stuff like that. And I wouldn't have been the only one. He would have seen loads of people's. And, you know, he's been getting a whole range of abuse, you know, stuff that it's way over the line, and stuff that I spoke to you about recently, that, you know, obviously these players have you know, PAs and people that do all their media stuff for them, and they always have the new thing now with players is that they have these graphics that come out before a game, match day graphics and all that kind of stuff. And the abuse that Willian gets on his ones, like, just for no reason at all, like that there's just no reason for it. There's criticism and there's abuse. And I've had to try and explain this so many times. In the past, in years gone by, I know when I've crossed the line, and I've held my hand up as a man and said, I apologize. I've said the wrong thing. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. But also in the circle that we're in and getting to speak to players and people within the game, you realize what effect some of your words will have on a person, you know, individually, like beyond criticism. We've said this. We spoke to players that say criticism's fine. We got no problem, but just be careful you don't overstep. And that's what I try to do, that I want to be constructive in what I say. If I don't think you're good enough for the club, I'm going to say it. If I don't think that you've had a good performance, I'm going to say it. But I'm going to try and say it in a way that doesn't be disrespectful. Don't get me wrong, in times of heats of moments or whatever, I was fuming at Danny Ceballos when he headed that ball back, and I was just F off, like, rah! I was fuming. But you name me another Arsenal fan that weren't fuming. We was raging. Nah, shut up. I've seen it. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is that, you know, give criticism when it's due and everything, but at the same time, send messages to these players and give them praise and stuff like that. Just to...
when somebody, what I don't like is when, listen, I've been interviewing fans for years. I know fans get upset. I get upset. You could see the other day on that stream how upset I was with Ceballos as well, right? It's nothing personal, right? And I understand why fans get upset, and I understand why fans, you know, but also what I want to see fans do is, when those players then turn it around and have a good performance, like what Willian did, give them credit.
Yeah.
Don't just turn around and say, nah, he's still... Give them credit. Say, all right, you know, fair enough. You ain't done enough of that. I want to see more of that, but that's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. You know what I mean? I don't like... I don't get this thing where nowadays somebody comes out and says, right, for instance, somebody might come out and say, I want Arteta gone. Right? And then Arteta turned it around and got us in the top 4. They still wouldn't want to admit that. They still wouldn't want to, because they said that earlier on in the season, they still wouldn't want to go against what they said earlier on in the season, just because they don't want to seem to be flip-flopping. Stop this flip-flop thing. You can be proven wrong. You can change your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other night, and I said it when we did a show, the full-time show the other day. And we actually used a video of you in there. I don't know if you've seen it yet, where you're having a go at Willian, right? And then you're praising Willian, right? There was a few videos. There's one of you, there's one of Lee, there's one of Stricto, yeah? And I actually said after that, right? I said, I'm not being a hypocrite. I was exactly the same as these guys. I was criticizing as well. But you know what? Fair play to Willian. He put in a great performance, and we have to applaud him for that. And stop this flip-flop thing. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind. There's nothing wrong with being proven wrong by a footballer. There's been footballers over the years. Imagine Bergkamp when he first came in.
Oh, mate.
Look how bad he was. I mean, look what he turned out to be. So what, would you be a flip-flop then if you started off by saying, Bergkamp, you know, from what I've seen, he's not good enough. And then you turn, and then somebody later on, you realize how great he's become because he's overcome that. And then somebody digs up an old video of you after his third game. And in that game, you was having a go at him. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is an opinion. I don't worry about those things at all. When people try to say, Robbie, you did say that. Yeah, that was then. But he's turned it around. I give that player credit for. So I want fans to do that more. But listen, it was the challenge for Willian is that's one.
Yeah, exactly.
He's had 2 good performances this season. The challenge for Willian now is to do that again. Now. You owe us those sort of performances now till the end of the season.
Exactly, because
you owe the fans that, and you owe your manager that, who's kept faith with you. You can't just do that one performance and then that's it.
Yeah, because the next message for me won't be a nice one.
Give me back to normal. Anyway, DT, listen, thanks very much, man. Thanks very much for this has been an All Guns Blazing Extra. We'll be back later on in the week with the full All Guns Blazing. We're going to be back in the studio as well, so looking forward to that. So make sure you check it out. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV, and don't forget Manscaped. Use the code AGB, and you can get yourself, amongst others, this aftershave, which is really nice, man. Yeah. Really nice. I've got one for you, DT.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'm coming to collect. I want my aftershave. I want my ball shaver. I want everything. And I want a kiwi fruit.
I can help you with everything else apart from the kiwi fruit. You'll have to check Ty for that.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, bro.